Okay, so guys, welcome. I'm super excited. I record all of these because they're great training tools for later on, and because it's Saturday, we've got people all over time zones. We've got our team is in I think like 5 countries now, so it's really exciting. So people can't always get on at the same time, and for me, super busy. All of us are busy. And I have time first thing in the morning before everybody is awake. On the weekends is the best time for me. It's not always the best time for everybody else. So again, these will all be recorded, but always try to do your best to be on the calls. So that way you have questions. And if you're having a question, almost everybody else is having a question. So ask that question and take that opportunity to get that on the spot knowledge, and don't leave anything to chance. Okay. I started doing these calls for a couple reasons, because it took me a really long time to figure out the 21-day or the portion control. And I think that's really it. To not have somebody guide you through it was hard. And that's something I always had wanted, was somebody to just sit down and be like, okay, look, this is the ins and outs and tips and tricks. And after, I think I've been doing this for about 4 years, ever since it came out, it clicked for me, and I want it to click for everybody else, especially those people that are with busy schedules, and that need that chance to just figure out nutrition. Like they just, oh, hi. 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 So those of you that need to figure out your nutrition, and I think all of us do. So we've all made this commitment that we want to exercise, but exercise is just one small piece of it. And I think, Carrie, if you came on, can you go ahead and mute? I don't think I can mute you from here.
I've never done that. Here, I got it.
Yep, it's no problem. Oh, perfect. Yeah. See, this is probably the easiest program I've ever found to use. And it just works on phones and all the devices and stuff like that. So super easy. But anyway, guys, we're all busy. The fitness is one piece of this aspect. Like we can get up and we're committing. Amy posted the other day, like, woohoo, 5 days in a row that she has actually worked out, and she doesn't remember the last time that she did that. And I think that's incredible. I think that's the power of accountability when you have to check in every single day. But that's one piece of it. If you look at that, 30-minute workouts, 1% of your day. What are you doing with the other 99? And the biggest piece of it is you're eating. It's a lot of nutrition there. And so what you're putting into your mouth, you think, oh, this just doesn't count, just this one time. But just this one time adds up to multiple times throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. And those add on to those pounds, and suddenly your pants aren't fitting, and suddenly you're looking in the mirror and you don't recognize the person that you are anymore. And I say this from a place that I know very deeply and very personally. And I've been there, and I've gotten to the point where I can share it a lot. I identify with a lot of the things that you say. For those of you that don't actually know me, I came from the point at postpartum, 2 babies in 20 months, and that does a number on your body. I wasn't really the healthiest to begin with going into it. I wasn't overweight. Yeah, I was probably close to overweight. I wasn't in shape at all. Barely worked out. I was the binge eater. We partied, heavy drinking, and I would work out for a week and get frustrated and couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting the results. Or I'd eat, I wouldn't say I starved myself, because that was never my problem. But I'd eat a salad and I wouldn't enjoy or get any enjoyment out of the food. And so when you guys start struggling and you're having these things, and if you ever say to yourself, what's wrong with me? The answer is nothing. The answer is you haven't found what works for you yet. And that's what we do, is we find what works for you. I'm going to jump right into the meal planning, because again, we're all busy. So I want to get right into everything so that you guys have a chance to ask your questions. But we overcomplicate meal planning and nutrition, or we don't do it. And I tell you that we prepare for meetings. Like, you wouldn't walk into a big meeting that you're presenting on and not have slides, or not have a presentation, or not have something. You don't go to the grocery store without a grocery list. You don't show up to your kids' games without making sure they have their uniform or their cleats or whatever it is that they need, the equipment. Why do we treat nutrition any differently? Think about this. Why do we treat it any differently? And it is the most important thing fuel our body, to give us energy, to be able to keep up with our little ones, to keep up with our jobs, to be firing on all cylinders, because we're getting pulled in a bazillion different directions. So give yourself a plan to follow, and we'll talk about following it in just a second, but give yourself a plan to follow. And then you don't have to think about it for the rest of the week. You just look and say, okay, great, got it. I can focus my efforts on getting my kids' homework done, making sure I get them to a game on time, because we're going to start meal planning, not only meal planning and meal prepping, and you're going to have all of the nutrition there for you, and it's going to be ready. So you guys are going to, the first couple weeks of meal planning, if you're brand new to this, or if you've frustrated and floundered in the past, the first couple of weeks, like anything you do, is practice, and you only are going to get better at it by practicing. So don't get frustrated the first time around that you try to do this and you're like, oh my God, I can't figure it out. I don't know what Chris is talking about. This is ridiculous. You have to get better at it in order to get faster at it, to get these cranked out, to understand and know what is going on. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about are the containers themselves. And for anybody that opened them the first time around, for any of you that opened the first time around, if the first thing that you said, and I know we've got kids listening, so I will keep it clean, but if you look at it and said, oh my F gosh, there is no way that this is going to feed me. These tiny little things, there's no way I'm going to be starving. There is not enough food in here. Well, reality check, guys. Everything that you have here is the proper portion to feed your body. Our society has such a disjointed belief and understanding of what a proper portion is. You go out to a restaurant, you look at it, and you think that's a proper portion now. And that in reality is probably 2 or 3 servings. Like that should be 2 or 3 meals right now. So you guys, we got to start retraining our minds, just like anything else. If you want this, if you want results, you're going to put the effort into this. So, all right. So these containers, they really are, it's a mind trick. The first couple of days, first couple of weeks of getting into your nutrition and looking at it. And when we look at these, if you guys, the point of these containers is to not eat and live out of these containers. The point of these is to start understanding what a proper portion size looks like. So I'm going to show you guys what I do with measuring cups. If you haven't, green and purple are 1 cup, and the green, vegetables, purple, fruit, red is your proteins. And so this is 3/4 of a cup here. Yellows, I don't know why I had to look, but yellows, this is one of my happy containers, is our carbs. We all talk about, oh my God, we can't have carbs and blah, blah, blah. Your body needs carbs. Your body needs good carbs. They don't need potato chip carbs. They need good carbs, good fuel, whole grains. And if you look at that list, there's a lot of really good foods on there. Like you're going to go and you can have your tacos. I am a crazy Mexican fiend. So if you like Mexican food, guess what? You're going to have Mexican food. If you like pasta, guess what? You're going to be able to have pasta. You can have just about anything on this plan, minus Twinkies. Like there is no container for Twinkies. So if you're a Twinkie fan, I've got some alternate recipes for you. Hit me up. I will share some things that have worked for other people in the past that are cleaner versions. And the sidebar on that is that you guys, we can clean up just about anything. So if you guys are having a craving for something, let me know, post it in the group, especially because we've got some other coaches in there. We've all got recipes. We've all been doing this. This is a community about sharing and learning, because I am not an expert. I am not a nutrition expert. I'm not a medical professional. I am a mom that said, I want to feel good about myself. I want to look good. I want to feel good. And I want everybody else around me to do the same. And so we share. We share and we share and we share to understand this. My absolute favorite container is the blue. It's 1/3 of a cup, and it's your good fats. It's cheese. I love cheese. It's avocado. It's all the goodness. I think there's almonds in there, but you know what? I'm not going to waste it on almonds when I can have cheese. And then lastly, you get your kind of your nuts and seeds and oils in here. So like peanuts and coconut and sunflower seeds and everything else. So it's there's a lot of food. And then it didn't come with an actual teaspoon, but if anybody doesn't actually own a spoon, just hit me up and I'll send you a spoon. Just pull it out of your drawer and grab a spoon. I haven't met anybody yet that needs a spoon, but if you do, don't be embarrassed. Just hit me up. I will mail you a spoon. Not a problem. All right. So we got the containers, right? Now, everybody gets all complicated and confused about the containers and I don't know what to eat and when do I need to eat it, don't overcomplicate this. If you're having a casserole and you see what the majority of the ingredient is, if it's a rice casserole, guess what? That's your yellow. So it's yellow, it's probably blue in there because there's probably cheese in there. Don't minuscule when we get all down into what these containers are. Don't overcomplicate this for yourself. We're arranging it. We don't count calories to the exact number. All right. I don't got time for that. I don't think any of you got time for that after talking to you. We're eating in brackets. So speaking of brackets, and my trusty 21-Day Fix book, I think I brought downstairs with me because I thought I was going to do the call down there, and we had a horrible windstorm, and we barely have connectivity right now. So if I go out, I'm sorry. I always keep my 21-Day Fix book right here in the kitchen with me, but I also keep my Country Heat one in here too, and I keep them handy because sometimes I still have questions too. This is when they still had books before we had on demand. I think most of you guys are on demand now, and that's exciting because you can access any of the nutrition programs, but essentially the containers stay the same. Do you guys know how to access the nutrition guides in Beachbody On Demand? You guys, if you watch that video, it's under you go into any of the programs. So you go into 21-Day Fix, you select program materials, and from there, it will give you the nutrition guide. And so by now, I think all of you have figured out what bracket you eat in because you saw that. It's a calorie range. So we are not obsessing about like, oh my God, I went over 1,200 calories. Like, what am I going to do? We're not doing that. Your body doesn't need an exact science of calorie numbers. It needs a range, and it needs a good wide variety of fuel. All right. And so that's what we're doing. So if you guys haven't figured out your calorie bracket yet, hit me up. I will walk through how to figure it out. For those of you that are if you're looking at weight loss, and we're talking weight loss of about 10 pounds or more, when you figure out your calorie bracket, unless you are at the very tip top of that bracket, I want you to take it and go down a bracket. So if you are in bracket D, I want you to plan for bracket C until this will be your weight loss. This will not be the forever bracket that you'll be in. You'll go up to a maintenance, but trust me on this one, when you start eating all of the food and everything, your body is not burning at the level and rate that you're going to want it to, and you get a lot of frustration there. So again, if you're in B, bump up to A. If you're in C, bump to B, and just try that for the first couple weeks. All right. It's going to take about 2 weeks for your body to really start like adjusting and you getting into the flow of things. And then by that third week, 21 days, your mind's going to be blown and you're just like, oh, wow, I'm really seeing these results right now. So that's the exciting part of it. So I got a meal prepped for you guys here, and I'm going to, let's see here. Let me flip the camera around and get to see my messy kitchen. That will someday be renovated. So this is exciting. So I have everything in containers. And a lot of us, when I first started out, I started eating out of the containers. And in my mind, I was never really fully understanding how much I was eating. Hey, good morning, sunshine. I was never really fully understanding how much I was eating. Hey, Blake's up downstairs if you want to go talk to him. Okay. He's downstairs. And so when I wasn't understanding what I was eating or how much, I would look at the plate and I'd be like, oh, I still don't know. What I don't want you guys to do is try to eat a salad out of containers, okay? And like I said, I don't really like salads, but I will make an exception for anything taco. And so watch what happens here when we start emptying all of this. Right. And when you fill a container, you don't have to pack it in. I know we have a tendency to want to pack it in, but don't. It's loosely. You'll read that instruction. So look I just dumped that little green container out, and look how much that fills. This is a full-size dinner plate. So you take this, and I get the opportunity, sorry. Oopsie. I'm going to take the lids off of everything right now. Did you wave hi? I should have done that before the call was waved. So there, I've taken the lids off of everything. All right, so we've got the green, right? And then we want some beans. I like beans on my salad. Maybe you want rice. Everybody, carbs get this big, bad reputation from things like Atkins and everything else, but those complex carbs is what's get you through the day and keeps your body fueled. So don't be scared of them. I know in your mind it might take a little bit to not be scared of them, but things like your beans, your rice, quinoa, I mean, there's so many grains out there. The whole grains like that is what is going to fuel your body. So you want to do that. And that's a lot of beans on there, which brings up a really great point in just a second. So look at this. And we got some ground turkey meat that's already seasoned with tacos. Hey, buddy. And look at that. I mean, that's a lot of cheese for a meal. Now, what I could have done here, and this is really important that people don't realize, you can split containers. So I just dumped a whole bunch of cheese on there. I dumped probably more beans than I care to have on there. You guys can double up on veggies or double up on a container that you're running short on. You can also split them in half. So maybe I have a meal that has cheese on it for this and cheese on it for dinner. Guess what? I'll do half a blue at lunch and half a blue at dinner. It's not a complicated process. And so I've got all of this in each of the containers, plus a whole side of raspberries and some peanuts. So that's a pretty significant meal for you. And I could have had my 2 tablespoons of whatever kind of dressing that I made up. All right. Would you guys, I mean, I'm flipping that back around. I mean, when you look at that, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, those little containers just produced all of that on the plate. And then you think about when we go, so that's plenty to eat. And then you think about when we go out to eat, what do those plates look like? And they come out in those big ovals that are like the width of your body, you know, and they're carrying them out and they set them down in front of you and you're like, oh my gosh. And what do? We end up eating it. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I ate the whole thing. And I look back on it now and I can't, like, as soon as that comes out, I ask for a box because I just don't even need the temptation in front of me. And then I get excited because I've just saved money because I've now just gotten 2 to 3 meals out of something rather than just paying that $15 for one of them. You know what I mean? So that's a really great thing. So are you guys comfortable like with how I explained the containers and dumping out of the containers? I've got some head nods. Okay, good deal. That's exciting. I'm going to move on to the actual meal plan itself. So now that you understand, you want these? He just ate my purple container. There went my raspberries. The meal plan, and I don't know how many of you guys printed this off. I am not a fancy schmancy person. There's a million and one different kinds of meal plans out there that you guys can use. I am a spreadsheet girl through and through. So the spreadsheet that I gave you guys and gave access to you, what it will do is every time as you're meal planning, you just put a little notch in the color-coded container that you used, and it will tally at the bottom based on your container bracket and tell you how many total that you've had. And I think I've got the old one. I will put the one in there that's got it for container brackets A, B, C, D, and E. And all you have to do is tally it. And when it adds up to zeros at the bottom, your meal plan is done. So it's been really helpful for me to go through because I'll get lost in like counting like, okay, did I have 1, 2, 3, 4 greens today? And where did my greens come in at? Very helpful. The plan, this template also has on here, and so you can see it. We start talking about like events. So I have found that when we are, and I'm just going to start from the top and work you guys way through the tips that we're going to do here. So I have found that I need to look at the calendar for the coming week to plan. Are we going to be out? Do we have visitors? Do we have certain meals that we are going to be, that are going to be fat bombs? Basically, you guys get a cheat meal. One meal, it's not a cheat day, a cheat meal a week. And I say that if you guys are here and fired up and motivated for significant, like to really get your results, shy away from those cheat meals. And the cheat meal also doesn't mean to throw the portions out the window. It means go enjoy the piece of pizza. Don't go enjoy a whole piece of pizza. And shy away from them and maybe only have one cheat meal every 2 weeks. But I don't want you to deprive yourself either. I mean, we're human. So if you need to have a cheat meal, have one, but count it and be honest with yourself about it, okay? So the further off your plan you go, the slower your results are going to be. That's all there is to it. Okay, so with the events, I plan out the events first, and I plan out my workouts. Like I made you guys are all got calendars now that you've got your workouts on your calendar, right? Right? Everybody nodding. Yes. Okay. There's a reason we put them on the calendar. So you got your reminders, it all pops up, and you can then see like where your schedule is going to be. If you need to, I've had a number of people, this looks like a lot to eat throughout the day. And as we get busy, people forget to eat and they're like, oh my God, I forgot to eat. Should I double up on meals now? Should I just skip it? What should I do? If you find yourself consistently missing a meal, I want you guys to just set another reminder on your phone or wherever you're at that will remind you that you need to be eating. Same thing if you need to be drinking more water. Bzz, you haven't drank enough water in the day, and add that as a reminder. We need all the help we can get because we get distracted, we get busy, we get going, and life is going to happen, right? All right. So first thing I do, all right, here we go. Bless you, Carrie. First thing I do after we've got the workout, I figure out I look at this meal plan and I say, okay, what is the easiest thing for me to figure out? And bless you to you too, Stacy. What's the easiest thing to figure out in the day? Your Shakeology. Like easiest meal. When do you eat or drink your Shakeology? For me, I do it for breakfast. So I just wrote down, I'll write my Shake-O, and when I do my Shakeology, I always do a fruit with it. So I know that I've got one red and one purple in here. And so maybe you have yours for lunch. Maybe you have yours for a snack. We're just going to start filling in the blocks here now. And so there, I've just filled in, one meal is already done. So I've got breakfast for fruit. I'll tell you a trick too. On Shakeology, if you are consistently short on your vegetables, add a green of spinach into your shake, and you look at me like, oh my God, you'll never know. It makes it a little bit thicker, a little bit creamier. You won't taste a thing. Just make sure you blend it up well, or else you end up with spinach in your teeth. That's the only thing. So if you show up consistently short on greens, add spinach to it, to your Shakeology. So there, I've just gotten one entire meal, one line done. I've only got three more rows to fill out here. The next easiest thing, look at the next easiest meal for you. Is that next meal that's easy for you? Are you a person that can eat the same thing every day? Do you need to have variety? What is it that you need? And for me, the next easiest meal is my second meal after my Shakeology, which is kind of like, I call it second breakfast. I feel like a hobbit when I say that, but it's second breakfast. And I typically will have 2 hard-boiled eggs, some sort of a vegetable, and then I like to have oatmeal with it. Good morning. And then I have oatmeal with it. And so right there, I write that in. For me, eggs, oatmeal, and then I like sauteed spinach, so I have spinach with my eggs. If you don't like spinach, guess what? You don't have to eat spinach, ever. So I've got a yellow, I've got a red, and I've got a green now. And because I work, and these things are really easy to make up in bulk, I go ahead and I eat that same thing all week. And I'm a person that will typically eat everything until I get just sick of eating it and I don't want to eat it anymore. And then I will switch up. If you're a person that needs to eat something different every day, try having the same thing every other day. And then on the alternate days, find a different snack. Don't try to eat something different every single day unless you absolutely, absolutely have to. When you're first starting out and you're getting comfortable with what these containers are and what you're adding and eating, I want you to keep it as minimal as possible. So when I say that, like alternate snacks to give you some variety, but alternate 2 snacks versus trying to have a different snack all 7 days of the week. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So now we've got 2 rows checked off here. And so I've done first breakfast, second breakfast. Now we're on to lunch. And I'm 1 row off. Oops, sorry. So I've got 3 rows left. So breakfast and snack is done. Now, what is the next easiest for me is probably snack number 2. I find for us, dinner is the hardest. And when I'm doing that, what's going to be left over is typically going to be a red and a green. You want to try to eat your yellows before 2 o'clock in the afternoon so that your body is burning it, because that's a lot harder of the carbohydrates. That's a lot harder of food on your system to digest. It just takes a little bit longer, and you don't want to eat them so late in the night that you go to bed with them still trying to burn, because then you're not burning it necessarily at night because you're not moving, right? It is not the end of the world if you eat your yellows at dinner. If you want to have rice with dinner, if you want to have beans with dinner, totally fine. Just be aware of that. If you're doing it consistently and you're having a hard time seeing results, we will probably need to take a look at your meal plan. It's going to be the first thing I'm going to ask you. Give me an honest meal plan of what you've been following and doing. And that's going to be one of the first things that we see, that we tweak. And once we do that, then people will start seeing the results. So, okay. So we've got first breakfast done and the morning snack, second breakfast for me. The next thing that's really easy for me is lunch. And I am a leftovers person. I don't like salad, like I said. So for me, I just make enough from the night before to have the next day, which is going to be a red and a green typically. And then I will add a yellow in there of some sort. Like I'll put it over rice, or I'll put it over beans, or whatever it is that you need. And so that's easy for me. If you are a person that likes salad, boom, there you go. Load up on your veggies at lunch, get your carb in, have fun with it, but don't make this complicated again. My other tip for you when we are first starting out is going to be, everybody wants to try like 50 new recipes, and then they get frustrated when they don't, because it takes time to learn a new recipe. You don't know if it's going to be good. It might suck. That happened a lot to people, that the recipe sucked, then they get frustrated, then their family doesn't want to eat it, and now you've just wasted food, you've wasted money, and you've wasted your time. I want you at a max, one new recipe a week, and you'll grow and you'll add to your repertoire. So if you have some recipes that you really like right now, then stick with those. If you have recipes that you really like right now that aren't the cleanest, post them in the group and ask how to clean them up. And I will give you, I can break it down to calorie container content for you, and the alternative suggestions. Is it going to taste exactly the same as you in your mind want it to? No. Is it going to taste really close and end up satisfying that craving? It sure is. And that's the best hack out of them all. Okay, so we've done lunch, and my afternoon snack is my leftover, like whatever containers I have left over. And it will often be, I will have an extra purple, a green, and my blue, and sometimes my orange. And so just depending on how that fills out. And so I just like little snacky things. So I like maybe Laughing Cow with some Triscuits and some olives. And there's my snack. Or those Halo oranges, for those of you that work long shifts or travel. Halo oranges travel really super well and stay with you all day, and you can have them peeled and eaten in like a minute. So those are really good ones to have with you. Think of what's going to travel well with you. So if you're working long shifts, what can you take with you? What can you hide in a pocket that, if you need to, as you're taking a walk and you can go, not something that you need to go to the microwave and go heat up and it takes a long process to eat. What can you get into your mouth the fastest when we are busy? I am the same way. I go into work, I sit down, I don't have access to social media. The microwave and the refrigerator we have this incredibly long hallway. And I say a hallway, but it's like, it just keeps going and going and for order to me to get down there. So I take things that can just kind of sit all day next to me and have them there. You have to be thinking about like what your environment is. If you get home at night and it's crazy and you've got the kids running around and you are tired and you need to have food, look at freezer meals. We'll talk about that throughout this group. Look at having the meals prepped from earlier in the week, so you actually only just have to pull them out of the refrigerator and heat them up in the microwave or the oven. Look at having items. We talk about meal prepping. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Meal prepping takes on a million different forms too, just like meal planning. It is based on what you need and where your deficiencies are at during the week so that you can save time. All you want to do meal prep is to save time and to have those foods on hand. So when you go to open up the refrigerator, you're like, yes, okay, I can grab carrot sticks. Yes, I can grab, whatever it is that you need to have there. You need to have good food on hand. And so those are the three. Let me make sure I've got everything written down like I always do. I know I've done this call so many times, but it always takes so many different directions. Yeah, we talked about what kind of planner you are. This is something as we're taking this on, and I've talked to I think just about everybody on this call. I'm excited because everybody on this call, is with me directly as a personally sponsored coach, and I've talked to all of you, and so I know that you're busy, and I know that you have multiple competing priorities. You have work, you have babies, you have the schools and the second jobs, and a lot of things that will mentally drain you. And if you find yourself extra tired these first couple weeks, there's a reason for that. Because learning this whole process is mentally draining. And I don't want you to think that you are doing something wrong when you're doing this, but it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to learn something new. You guys have all told me goals that you have, that you want to do, that you want to do this. You've got targets, you've got vacations coming up. You've got, you just want to feel better. Like you've gone long enough of putting everybody else forward that you've got to have some time for yourself. And it's a beautiful day out, Lenina. Have a good walk. And just, you need to take that time. You need to fill your cup before you're expected, or you think you can actually serve everybody else in your life. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I cannot tell you this enough. You're going to hear it from me ad nauseum. And it is going to be, that's why we have this community, so that you can keep coming back and going, I'm losing my ever-loving mind on this. Why am I doing this? You're going to question why you're doing this. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days where you're just like, you're like, I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to stick to my plan. And you fall off. At first, we have this excitement. We are super excited to be doing this. So that's the fire. And then it's going to kind of start to taper off. I'm going to just tell you your cycle right now. First couple weeks, awesome. That second and third week is as the excitement tapers off and you're realizing like, oh, I got to do this regularly. That's when you start digging deep. And I've asked you your why. Why do you want to do this? Why are you doing this? What do you need to get out of this? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your children to be seeing? And that's a huge one. What do you want your kids to be seeing? Because anybody that thinks that they're not watching, they're watching everything you do, including what you're putting in your mouth, including how you talk to yourself, including how you treat yourself, how you act around other people. So this is more than just learning to eat. This is more than just learning to exercise. We are shaping our future generations, and don't think, I don't believe that with my whole heart, body, mind, and soul. And I want the same for you guys as well. I want you to have energy. I want you to have excitement. We will get over the humps together, and we are going to ride some really awesome highs together. So I can't wait to go through and get away from the scale with you. I can't wait to go through and we start talking about a little bit more timing of nutrition. I don't want you to worry about like, oh, should I eat this container at this time? Should I eat this container now? I just want you to worry about learning to get into a pattern of eating all of your containers in a day. All right. If you're following the containers, if you're following what's on that list, you guys are going to be fine. When you look at that list, the more you can eat from the top of the list, that top half of the list, the better the foods are, the more nutritionally dense they are. And that's what you want to be on. But they are all on the list for a reason. So if you have to eat from the bottom of the list for the entire week, you're still eating from that list and you're still going to be fine. You're still going to get results. Just think of how bad you want the results that you want and what you're pushing for, and keep your eye on the prize. I am here. I answer questions, as you've seen, in the morning. I answer them in the evening. I'm not on social media during the day and after work. I have a commute home that I will sometimes answer for, but when I get home, you're not going to get pretty much an answer from me because my time is with my family, because that is limited. And I want you guys to know the same thing. Setting boundaries is okay. All right. And we are going to be stronger for it. And that's exciting. So with that said, I don't want to keep you up. I I know we got started just a little bit late, but 30 minutes is about the max I do for anything. If I ever post videos, don't think they're going to be these hour-long videos because I don't have time to make them. You don't have time to watch them. I typically will do things in about 5-minute bursts, 10 minutes max. The intro video that you guys have all watched, I know you guys have all watched the intro video. Yeah, that's the longest video you're going to have this trip. Okay. If you haven't already, please complete actually, if I'm looking here, yeah, I think just about all of you have the commitment form, that Google Doc. If you're not sure of the Google Doc and you haven't completed it yet, always just go up to the banner picture in the group and click on that. And if you click on that how-to resources guide that we're working through to make sure like we know how to take measurements, we know how to access things on demand, that's all there right there, as well as that commitment form. That's really important for me to look back, to pull out and be like, okay, where are you at with your goals? You've made this commitment. What's stopping you right now? You all have put your money into it. You've all now are going to put some time into it, and so we're going to see some results. I promise this works. Okay, and this works for busy people. So with that said, anybody have questions right now? Are you looking forward to? Are you guys ready to feel comfortable to go forward and do a meal plan or start taking a stab at it? Yeah. Oh, good. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this makes me so excited. Good. This makes me really. You are not anywhere near being on camera.
Oh,
You're okay.
I've seen
I have a house full of people, and it's so exciting. And I'm perched right here in the kitchen where everybody congregates, of course, always. So, okay. If you guys don't have questions, then this week coming up, we're launching full into the group. So this past week, we've kind of just been like, okay, we're getting ready. We're figuring out our schedules, our patterns, our eating. It may have been spot on. Again, I'm going to go back to Amy. Rock on, 5 days in a row. She did great. Stacy came back with some awesome pictures. Carrie, even with shift work, was still like these really long 12-hour shifts, and she's still getting her workouts in. So anybody's schedule, we can make this work. We will make this work. You have to want to do it. This coming week, we're going to do it. Like full on commitment. We're going to look at our nutrition. We're going to be doing our workouts. We're going to be checking into the group every day. Comment on other people's, victories. I love that. I saw that people were, congratulating again, that 5-day goal for Amy. People were congratulating her on that. That's what we do. We may be strangers, like we may not actually all know each other and have one connection of one coach. But with that said, we're all in here with a common goal. And that's, I think, is what is important. And we have enough negativity in our lives that this is a place that it's a safe forum, that if you had a crazy day with your kids, your spouse is driving you nuts, whatever, if work was just like you have a horrible boss, it doesn't matter. You know what? You come in here and you vent, and it's fine, but it's productive venting. It's what are you going to do about it? It's always going to be the question I ask you next. What are you going to do about it? So we don't complain. We do things. We make, oh yeah, that's right. I got to keep it clean. We've got kids. So we make things happen. All right. Yeah, right? Okay, guys, awesome that you didn't have any questions. We can do another meal planning call next week, and I will also introduce something called Fit Appointments. So if you guys really want to start getting good workouts in, we're going to do some kind of virtual group workouts together. All right. This is awesome. This is the first time I've had a call there. She goes, there's Lenina. Hi. Lenina's living with us. And no, she didn't live with us and have to start doing these workouts for doing that. That's... She was doing them before. So you guys have a great week. I am super excited to have you here. And Stacy, feel better. Carrie, have a great night. You have a great day. Amy, you too. Lenina, you too. Awesome. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Press leave.